fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The warehouse air clung to my skin like a damp, cold shroud, even through the layers of my hazmat suit. It wasn't just cold, it was old, heavy with the scent of decay and forgotten memories. Aged wood, rusted metal, the ghosts of things long broken down, but beneath that, something else. A deeper, more primal aroma pulsed, thrumming against my senses. It wasn't unpleasant, not exactly. It was earth and ozone, the metallic tang of an approaching storm, and something wilder, untamed, unbridled power. It smelled like the heart of a forest after a lightning strike. As I breathed it in, I felt the weight of the warehouse's secrets settling upon me, a physical pressure. The atmosphere wasn't just oppressive, it felt aware, like the building itself was watching, waiting. My hazmat suit, a necessary barrier against the unknown contaminants within, felt flimsy, inadequate, especially now, especially with him approaching. Alex. The heat radiating from him wasn't just physical, it was different. It felt like standing too close to a forge, but instead of burning, it stirred something deep within me, a dormant ember I hadn't known existed. He moved with a quiet grace that belied his size, each step deliberate, measured. As he stepped closer, his proximity stole the air from my lungs, leaving me breathless and strangely lightheaded. His gloved hand brushed against mine, a fleeting contact, and a jolt of electricity surged through my system. It wasn't just static, it was recognition. The warmth of his hand, the firm, confident pressure of his fingers spoke of a connection that went far beyond a simple touch, beyond professional necessity. It was a spark that ignited a fire that had been smoldering, unacknowledged, for far too long, a fire I'd actively tried to extinguish. My heart rate spiked, a frantic drumbeat against my ribs, a traitorous response to a touch that should have meant nothing, but meant everything asterisk. I squeezed my own gloved hands together, trying to regain control to slow the frantic rhythm. It didn't work. My pulse hammered in my ears, drowning out the hum of the warehouse's ancient machinery. Morning, I murmured, my voice husky and rough, betraying the restless night I'd spent. Sleep had been a battlefield of fragmented dreams and phantom sensations, all centered around him. Replaying the briefest of touches, the way his shadow fell across my path, the subtle shift in his posture when he thought I wasn't looking. My body yearned for more, a shameful, undeniable ache. The word hung in the air, a fragile offering, and I could feel his gaze on me, even though his face was hidden behind the opaque visor of his mask. It felt like a physical weight pressing against my skin, a reminder that I was not alone, that I was seen, and that I was wanted, or at least observed. I wasn't sure I could handle the difference. I'd spent years perfecting the art of invisibility, of blending into the background. Alex had a way of making that impossible. Alex's masked face turned toward me, the dark goggles obscuring his eyes, yet somehow his gaze felt searing intense, as if he could see right through the layers of protective gear, through the carefully constructed walls I'd built around my emotions and directly into my soul. It was unnerving, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. A shiver traced its way down my spine, a shiver that spoke of fear, of anticipation, of a longing that I could no longer deny. I felt exposed, vulnerable, and strangely, exhilaratingly alive. I shifted my weight, trying to appear nonchalant, but my legs felt like lead. The air in the warehouse seemed to thicken, to press in on me, stealing my breath. I focused on the small details, the dust motes dancing in the beams of our headlamps, the intricate patterns of rust on the metal supports, the way his breath fogged the inside of his visor. Anything to avoid meeting his gaze. "You seem distracted," he said, his voice a low rumble that vibrated through the air. It wasn't a question, it was an observation, laced with something I couldn't quite decipher. Amusement, concern, something else entirely. I forced a small, shaky laugh, just thinking about the readings from Sector Gamma. They're unusual, a pathetic attempt at deflection, and we both knew it. He didn't call me out on it. Instead, he took another step closer, closing the distance between us until I could feel the warmth of his body radiating through my suit. The scent of ozone and earth intensified, filling my senses. "Sector Gamma can wait," he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "We have more pressing matters." My breath hitched in my throat. What do you mean?" He reached out, his gloved hand hovering just above mine. He didn't touch me, but the anticipation was almost unbearable. "I mean," he said, his voice a husky promise, "that sometimes the most valuable discoveries aren't found in data logs." A slow burn ignited in my chest, spreading through my limbs. I knew, with a certainty that defied logic, that he wasn't talking about the anomalies in Sector Gamma. He was talking about us asterisk, about the dangerous, forbidden pull that existed between us. Ready to play with fire? He asked, his voice low and husky, a whispered promise of secrets and forbidden pleasures, a promise that spoke directly to my heart and to the deepest, most primal desires that I had long suppressed. My lips parted slightly and I found myself unable to look away. The darkness behind his visor felt like an invitation, a challenge, a dangerous, irresistible temptation. Maybe, I breathed, my voice barely audible. Maybe I am.